Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one, we are going to head down to Australia once again, and we're going to return to a brewery that has now featured on the channel a couple of times before. So I've had some really nice beers from these guys over the last year or two. They are still a relatively new addition to their local beer scene in comparison with others, but they've built up a very good reputation for themselves. If people were to ask me about this brewery, I would say that they're probably best known for their different kinds of New England hazy, whatever you want to call them, IPAs, but they have been doing a number of other styles in recent times as well. But the beer we're going to have a look at today is one of their latest releases here in Hong Kong. I really liked the name of this one, and that was the main reason that I got it out of the other ones that they had. But yeah, it's a style that I know this brewery can do very well, and one that I have had from them before. So needless to say, I'm very curious to see what this beer is going to have in store for us. Hopefully it's another good beer. Hopefully it makes for an interesting review, and as always, I hope that you guys watching enjoy my take on this one as well. So yeah, for this review then, we are going to head down to Australia like I said. We're going to go to the state of New South Wales, we're going to go to the Sydney area, but out a little bit to the west to a place called Emu Plains, and that means that we're going to have a look at another beer from the wonderful Mountain Culture Beer Company. So this particular beer is called Celestial Body. It comes in at 6.7% ABV, and this one is a New England hazy, whatever you want to call it, IPA, or to be specific, as these guys are calling it, an oat cream IPA. So yeah, this should be really quite interesting. This is another beer that I picked up at, where was it, at Wine Rack in Tsim Sha Tsui in Kowloon here in Hong Kong, and they had a couple of things from Mountain Culture, but this one caught my eye simply because of the artwork and the fact that I studied astrophysics before. So yeah, this is the one that I decided to go for, of course. So yeah, 6.7% oat cream IPA. I think most of the IPAs that I've tried from Mountain Culture Beer so far have been doubles actually, so this will be the first lighter one that I'm trying, so that should make it quite interesting too. But yeah, let's crack on with this one then and see how we go. My first review from Mountain Culture in a couple of months, if memory serves me correctly. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting though, just fast forward. All the usual links can be found in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Mountain Culture Beer before, and we will no doubt add more to that list at some point in the near future. But there's all the usual social media down there. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The support that you give is massively appreciated, and remember, you can go into the channel homepage and search for beer using the geography tagging system. So just go in there, use the little search bar, put in your hometown, state, county, province, whatever you like. If I've reviewed beers from the area that you search for, they will pop up. Failing that though, you can check out the playlist of beers from different countries. You'll find this one in the Australian playlist along with a number of other things. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, but quite regularly, because we do get a bunch of good Aussie beers up here in Hong Kong. But do make sure you check out the playlist of beers from other countries as well, because there are some very interesting things on the channel these days. And if you are specifically interested in Australian beer, do make sure you check out my friend Sam over at Short and Stout Beer Reviews. He's got some really nice videos there, and he covers the Aussie beer scene really quite well, so go and give him some love. But yeah, let's go on to my brewery notes then, and I'll give you a wee bit of history about Mountain Culture Beer then. So, Mountain Culture Beer Company, as I've mentioned to you already, are based in Emu Plains in New South Wales, in Australia, just a bit out to the west of Sydney, and this company was founded back in 2017 by DJ and Harriet McCready. So DJ was already a brewer actually, and he previously worked for Newcastle Brewery and Modus Operandi, and also for Oscar Blues Brewing over in Colorado. But they started the brewery together in Katoomba, which is further out to the west of Sydney than Emu Plains, and they actually renovated an old dilapidated building from 1912 that had housed the Echo, which was a local paper for many years, before also being home to a dancing saloon and a video game store. But in total, the renovation took them about 18 months, and they opened their doors to the public in 2019. So this was the first brew pub in the Blue Mountain region, and of course Katoomba is right on the edge of the Blue Mountains. I think I've actually been to that village back in about 2015, so I'll need to go back and visit the original brew pub. That would be really cool. But there, they've got a 12 hectolitre brew kit from Premier and 14 beers on tap, and they serve burgers on the menu as well. But they've now got the new facility in Emu Plains, a bit closer to Sydney. This has a floor space of 7,000 square metres, and they operate a 25 hectolitre brew kit and a Crohn's canning line. But they've got an on-site tap room there which has 20 taps, and they also have a food truck which serves wood-fired pizzas as well, and they look very good, I have to say. But this new brewery opened in early 2023, and it gives them the capacity to brew about 8 million litres of beer per year at full tilt, compared with the 2 million that they could produce at the Katoomba site. But as of September 2024, when I'm filming this review for you, these guys have produced around 430 different kinds of beer according to Untappd, and that number will no doubt continue to increase as time goes on. But yeah, that is everything I can really tell you about Mountain Culture beer for the moment. If you want to learn more about these guys, you can check out the brewery website, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn a wee bit more about all the different beers they've done, or indeed you can check out my good friend Sam over at Short and Stout Beer Reviews. But yeah, let's go on then and actually have a little look at this beer itself. I'm quite curious about this one. So yeah, as I've explained to you on the channel a few times before, I tend to buy double and triple IPAs from the imported beers, because it's just, with the price of these things, it's just a bit more bang for your buck. But yeah, this one is one of the few single IPAs that I've had for a wee while. But I have to say, the artwork on this one is absolutely lovely. I love that. You can see your gas giants and stuff there, and the hop flowers just being moons. But yeah, plain silver top on the can there. It tells you a wee bit about the beer on the back as well, which is nice. But you can see here, this is the Mountain Culture Beer Company symbol actually. But yeah, tells you a bit on the back here. We've placed our heads firmly in the stars and dared to dream about how thick and silky we could possibly make the body of an oat cream IPA. We've upped the flaked malts and adjusted the mash temperature to send the viscosity meter into orbit. We've made the dry hop of Mosaic, Simcoe and Sabro rain down like a meteor shower, engulfing a heavenly body without a protective atmosphere, infusing the luxurious malt body with a complex array of flavours, highlighting tangerines, berries and coconuts, ensuring that this beer is truly out of this world. Okay, that's enough puns. Surely that's reinforced the name though. But yeah, looks pretty nice, this one. As I say, the artwork of this is beautiful. I'm definitely going to keep this can. I love the kind of space themed cans. But this is a half-litre can, incidentally. Like I said, I bought this one at Wine Rack in Tsim Sha Tsui, and I think I paid like 90 Hong Kong dollars for it. So that's like £9 sterling, €9.50, $10 American, something like that. But yeah, a nice Aussie oat cream IPA, this one. The hops in this beer, as we mentioned, are Mosaic, Simcoe and Sabro. All three of these are American. Mosaic's about 14% alpha acid. It gives you a little bit of a distinctive earthy note, but then quite a lot of tangerine orange. Simcoe in a New England IPA is going to give you lots of soft kind of passion fruit and a wee bit of mango. Then Sabro's going to give you quite a kind of mandarin-y type character with a wee bit of coconut underneath. But yeah, let's get this guy out then into the glass and see what it's all about. I've been missing my Mountain Culture stuff. I need to get back down to Oz and go and visit some of these breweries and make some out and about videos and things. So yeah, I think that might be something I'll look at. We'll just need to wait and see. But yeah, there we go. So that's that. Anyway, we've got maybe about 2/3 of the beer out and into the glass at the moment, and you can see it's poured quite nicely. So we've got about a finger and a half of quite a bumpy, soapy head there. I would describe that as being more kind of cream rather than pure white. But yeah, you can see some kind of medium bubbles on the surface of the liquid there, and a few kind of bigger ones just up to the top, and you can see it kind of receding away, which is quite nice. But yeah, certainly not the foamiest of heads that I've come across from Mountain Culture. I probably should have rolled this can actually before I opened it, because it's the oat cream one. You'll get the sediment and things, so we'll see that in a little bit when we actually taste the thing. But yeah, colour wise, I would say that this beer, it looks like a kind of mango juice type colour. I always like comparing the New England IPAs to different sorts of fruit juices, because that's just what the appearance reminds me of. But yeah, remember, the colour of your beer depends on a few things. One, the type of malts that you use. This goes a long way to determining your EBC rating. Two, length of your wort boil is going to play a role, because the longer you boil the wort, the more the sugars caramelise, and thus you get a darker colour of beer. But any barrel aging that you do or adjuncts you put into the beer will affect its colour as well. But you don't often have to care about that when it comes to different kinds of IPAs. Those two variables are more for sort of sour beers and things. But yeah, the level of haze in this one is pretty impressive for a 6.7%, and you would kind of expect that when it's an oat cream IPA. But yeah, remember, the level of haze is usually down to the oat content, wheat content, and to a degree what yeast you use, and that can vary from brewery to brewery and even beer to beer, recipe to recipe essentially. Not much in the way of visible carbonation with this one, just one or two big bubbles there and a few little ones going up toward the bottom of the glass there. But all in all, it looks pretty nice, this one, and you can see if I put my hand behind the glass there, it does have a good little bit of opacity to it, but yeah, it looks the part, so a thumbs up from me. I don't know if we really need to say anything more about the appearance of this beer, in all honesty, so we can move on and have a little look at the aroma of this one then. I'm very curious about that, so let's do it. Oh, that's nice. I will say this nostril is blocked actually, so yeah, I don't know what happened, I just woke up and it was blocked. I've got a day off today, which is nice, so I can enjoy a beer or two. But yeah, the aroma of this beer is really, really damn nice. Yeah, so as I've often said, when it comes to New England IPAs, the malty and yeasty side of things, there are 6 elements to think about with these beers. You've got the kind of farmhousey, yeasty sort of character and the ryeline and grainy side of things. Those are a bit more common in the New England brewed New England IPAs, because the style started off as like a farmhouse IPA, but then since the style's evolved in other places, it's more about wheaty bitiness, oaty creaminess, barley malt bread, and also the sweeter side of things. With this one being an oat cream IPA, the focus is of course on that, but I will say you do get quite a little bit of the barley malt out of this one, and maybe just a little touch of wheaty character in this one. Does it have wheat in it? Yeah, it does have, wait, lactose. Oh, it's lactose that's in this one. Maybe the lactose is what's giving me the impression of that more dense white bready character actually. So yeah, no wheat in this one apparently. But yeah, the aroma of this, it's really like soft and juicy and things like that. The green component's very, very nice as well. Yeah, the green component in this one's really, really nice. It gives you everything you'd want, like a nice kind of soft bready backbone, lovely bright green component, and then soft juicy fruity characters. You can't really ask for much more from an IPA these days, in honesty. So yeah, let's have a wee look at that. So we'll just break the aroma down then and describe it for you a wee bit more in depth, as we always do. So the backbone of the beer, you get a little bit of that kind of fresh white bready bread crust out of it. There's a teeny little bit of woody character. I always get a bit of woodiness out of IPAs, just from the malty backbone. And there's the wee bit of that kind of typical cracker too. Now, the malt base on this one, the actual barley malt side of things, it has got a teeny tiny little bit of maybe brown bready character, but for the most part, it's all about the kind of white bread. So yeah, lovely fluffy white bready character to this one, which is great. Yeah, lovely fluffy white bready character. Some, I would say, yeah, a good little bit of, how would you say, just it's like a really soft kind of fluffy hedgehog type bread that you're getting out of this one. And it has a little bit of density to it as well. Yeah, it has a little bit of density to it as well, and the more that you smell of it, it's actually got a little bit of sweetness too, which I think is quite interesting. So yeah, it's a really good, yeah, it's a really good mix of things in this malt base. But yeah, as I say, a little bit of bread crust, a little bit of wood, a little bit of cracker, lots of kind of white bread in there, a little touch of sweetness to it, but a good density to the bready character as well. And you can smell the lactose in there, just sort of smoothing everything out. So yeah, lovely kind of smooth, like yeah, lovely sort of just more, it gives you that impression that you get from wheat sometimes, you know, that more dense white bready character there, but it's really silky and very, very smooth, actually, this one. And on top of that, you start to get the oats. So, as I've often said in my New England reviews, oats can give you a rough idea of how fresh your New England IPA is. Essentially, the creamier they are, the fresher the beer is, the drier they are, the older it is. But yeah, with the oat cream IPAs, they come across with just a little bit more density. You do have to remember as well that oats from different places taste a little bit different. You know, European oats are a little bit more creamy, North American oats are a little bit more kind of porridgey in a sense. And the oat cream, I find, is quite often somewhere in the middle. The Aussies will, of course, be producing their own oats as well, which will be different. You know, it's water profile and soil profiles and stuff like this that affect these kind of things, plant chemistry. But yeah, the oaty side of this beer is really, really nice, very, very smooth and very, very kind of silky. Yeah, I quite like that. In terms, quite like the malty side of this aroma. Other than that, there's a wee bit of there's a little touch of sweetness to this one, you know, a little bit of like Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotch. There's a wee bit of that going on, maybe a tiny little hint of McVitie's Digestive Biscuit or something like that. And these are all things that you would expect of the style, actually. So yeah, interesting stuff. That goes together really nicely. Definitely, the malty side of this beer is really nice. On the yeasty side of things, then you can smell the yeasty character at the back of the nose. So, for me, the yeasty side of things, it's there's a little bit of brown bread in there, but it's got a nice kind of more dense white bready character, and then a fluffier like white bread as well. But then you also have this wee bit of kind of bread crusty note to it as well. Yeah, the malty and yeasty side of this beer is really quite nice. Yeah, I think that's everything we really need to say about the malty and yeasty side of things in this one. Yeah, my nose is getting a little bit of this kind of citricy note, but I think that's just the fact that I've got a blocked nostril, of course, so exclude that. But yeah, let's go on to the hoppy side of things then. So as I've said in many New England reviews before, you have three types of hoppings that you can do with your IPAs. You've got early edition hopping, which takes place within the first hour of the wort boil usually, and that gives you pretty much all bitterness. And that gives you a deeper, danker green component, of course. You've got late addition hopping, which takes place after the wort boil, takes place in the last half hour of the wort boil. A little bit of bitterness, mainly flavour aroma, and it gives you a very bright green component. Then you've got dry hopping, which takes place after the wort boil is complete, and that's all about flavour and aroma, and that gives you that nice kind of bright green component as well. But yeah, the way that all of that pieces together, I think in this is quite nice. Like New England IPAs tend to rely on late addition and dry hopping, then West Coast IPAs use all three, which is why they're deeper, danker and more bitter. This one, I think, it could have a little bit of early addition hopping. I think it might do, because you can smell a wee touch of deep dank character to this one, I will say that. But yeah, mostly the green component is quite bright in this one. I'm getting a little touch of earthiness, which is the mosaic that's going to give you that. But otherwise, it's mainly nice and bright and floral, and you've got that lovely zesty, grassy character coming out of it as well, which I think is really, really nice. So yeah, lovely zesty, grassy character to this beer for sure. On top of that though, there's some really nice, there is maybe just a little bit of, there's maybe just a wee touch of like woody character in there with the earthiness too, but yeah, you know, nicely earthy, a little bit woody, nice floral aromaticity, and you've also got some kind of brighter grassy sort of things coming out of the beer as well. But yeah, the green component is really, really nice in this one. That's good. The green component is nice in this one. The fruity side of the beer, if you know these hops, is pretty much what you would expect. This beer, it does lean quite a bit toward that kind of orangey, tangerine end of the spectrum, and that's the Sabro and the Mosaic that are going to do that. And you get the little bit of coconut from the Sabro as well, but at the same time, You've got a nice kind of tropical backbone from the Simcoe. The Simcoe is definitely giving you a little touch of peach in the top of the nose. And then, yeah, lots of soft passion fruit and a bit of juicy mango as well. Maybe some apricot. You know, Simcoe's giving you all that nice kind of stone fruity character. I've always found Simcoe leans a bit more toward passion fruit than anything else. But yeah, the way the aroma in this one goes together is very, very nice. Yeah. So as I always say, take a bit of time to just enjoy the aroma of your beer before you get stuck into it. But I think it's about time that we try this one then and see what it's all about. Sugar up the last little bit just in case we've got some sediment and things in there. Not too much, but yeah, we'll put the rest of it in just a wee second. But yeah, this one is is it Celestial Body, Celestial Object? Yeah, Celestial Body, 7.6% ABV, or no, 6.7% ABV. New England Hazy Oat Cream IPA from Mountain Culture Beer Company in Emu Plains, New South Wales in Australia. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål, cheers. Ooh, that's nice. Really soft, really silky, and just really, really juicy. Yeah, I'm just going to say straight away, thumbs up to Mountain Culture for this. This is very, very good. This is really good. I've often wondered how they do it with their beers. The first one of these I tried was from Japan, if I remember correctly. I actually got the can in Japan, and then I've had one or two others since then. But yeah, there's just something about the Mountain Culture beers. They always just have this really distinctive like juiciness to them, and it's different from pretty much any other brewery that I've come across. I really don't know how they do it, but it must be their water profile or something like that. But yeah, the way everything kind of pieces together in this beer, I think, is really, really nice. So it gets a big thumbs up from me. Yeah, so let's just think, where do we start with this one? I mean, first impression, it's really kind of bready and very smooth, quite silky, nice little bit of green component to it. Then you've got a wee bit of a kind of sharper IPA. So a wee bit of sharper fruitiness coming out of this one too. Great IPA, this one. As I say, I very rarely drink singles these days just because of the prices of the beer here in Hong Kong. There's really not much difference between a single, between a double and a triple IPA and a single on the other hand. So bang for your buck is the main argument there. But yeah, this one is really, really nice. So let's just break this beer down then and describe it a wee bit more in depth, as we always do. Yeah. So, middle third of your palate then, the backbone of the beer. You get that lovely kind of fresh white bready bread crust in there that I was talking about earlier. It's like that hedgehog roll. As you move further forward from that, you get that really nice kind of, yeah, you get that really nice sort of slightly woody character coming out of it, and then you have a kind of Jacob's, there's a wee bit of a Jacob's cream crackery sort of note in there. So yeah, white bready hedgehog roll in there, little bit of woodiness, little bit of Jacob's cream cracker above that, and then it's all about the bready notes. I think there is a little touch of like a dense and slightly sweet wholemeal brown bready character in there, so you can feel that coming out of the beer. And then above that you start to get the white bready notes. So the white bready character is a little bit more, the white bready character is a little bit more dense, I would say, so you can feel that more dense white bready character in there, and it's got a wee bit of sweetness to it as well. Then above all of that, you have like this really, really dense white bready character, which I think is great. So the white bready character actually gives you that wee bit of sweetness too, which is kind of interesting. But you can definitely feel above the white bread, That's where the lactose is doing its job and giving you that real kind of smoothness almost, and you get a wee bit of sweetness out of the beer into the aftertaste after that. But then, yeah, above the lactose, it's all about the oats. So down the middle line of your tongue, down the middle line of your tongue, you've got this really nice, smooth but dense, oaty type character out of the beer. So yeah, lovely dense oaty kind of note out of this one. And then it's quite creamy down the middle line of your tongue, but as you move out toward the edges of your tongue, it's a little bit more kind of, it's definitely a little bit more sort of dry in a sense. I think that's fair to say. So yeah, lovely oaty creamy note down the middle line of your tongue, then a little bit drier further out. But yeah, the way that that goes together, I think, is really quite nice in this one. The oat cream, of course, is a little bit more dense, so the oaty character is a bit more dense in this one compared to other things, particularly the kind of creamy part of it. But in the dead centre of your palate, you can feel there's that little circle there where you've got the Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotchy sort of note, and that is, of course, the alcohol coming out of the beer. So yeah, the way that that goes together, I think, is really, really nice. Yeah, so the Werther's Original, the biscuit in there, and yeah, that does go together pretty nicely in this one. So yeah, there's a wee bit of like McVitie's Digestive Biscuit sitting on top of that as well, like around the Werther's Original butter candy note. But I would point out this is not like such a sweet IPA in that sense. It's not got a lot of kind of brown sugar and things in it. But yeah, all in all, I think the middle third of the palate's quite nicely done in this. It's very kind of, it's not doing anything surprising, but it's just nicely done. I think we can say that. So let's move to the back third of your palate then. As I've often said, the back third of your palate will give you similar flavours to the middle third of your palate, just at different intensities. And do remember that generally speaking, sweeter flavours come out further forward on the palate and more dry and bitter flavours come out further back. So yeah, the border region between middle and back third of your palate, you get a nice little bit of bready build up in there. So there's a wee bit of brown bread in the base, the white bread on top, and then a wee bit of the more kind of drier side of the oats on top of all of that. But the base of the back third of your palate, you've got a really nice kind of bread crusty type note out of this one, which is good. And it's a little bit drier. Of course, you've got the Jacob's cream cracker, like a wholemeal brown bready layer, which is a little bit lighter, taller, and more airy. Then above that, you've got a kind of white bready layer, which again is a little bit lighter, taller, and more airy. And then on top of all of that, you can feel some of the more dry aspects of the oats just kind of creeping on top of that, which is really, really nice. So the way that all of that goes together, I think, is really, really nice. Is there anything else we need to say about that? I don't think so, to be honest. On the yeasty side of things, the yeast, of course, sits on top of the back third of your palate. In the middle, you can feel that more dense, brown bready sort of character. So yeah, there's that dense brown bready character in there. Then around the edge of that, you get a more kind of grainy white bready character, and then the very edge of it is more of a kind of like bread crusty, soft bread crusty kind of character. So yeah, definitely that yeasty character lingers into the aftertaste a little bit and gives you that wee bit of dryness, which is nice. So yeah, the back third of your palate, you can feel the flavour is taller. Then as you move further forward into the middle third of your tongue, it just kind of condenses down and squashes together that little bit more. So yeah, the way that goes together is really, really nice. On the hoppy side of things then, so let's have a wee look at that. Hoppy side of the beer. Green component for me, in the back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness in there. As you move further forward from that, it's a little bit more herbal, but then yeah, the earthiness will be coming from Mosaic, remember, but as you push further and further forward, it gets more sort of floral and aromatic, of course. I think there's a mix of pellets and maybe like cryo or something like that in here. I get the feeling that there might be quite a bit of cryo in this, but yeah, as you move further forward, it gives you more of a kind of floral aromatic sort of thing. Then round the front curve of the tongue, it is, of course, just that little bit lighter and more grassy rather than anything else. So yeah, the way that that goes together, I think, is is quite nice. That's the green component covered, I think. Let's go to the front third of your palate then and the fruity side of things. So the border region between front third and middle third of your palate, again, you get that little bit of bready build up in there. So you can feel the brown bread in the base, the white bread on top, then a wee bit of the oaty character again. The base of that front third of your palate is the white bready bread crust, the sort of cracker, then a wee bit of brown bread, white bread, and then the smoother side of the oats. Then above that you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters roll their way out of the beer. So yeah, the way that all of that goes together, I think, is really, really nice. Yeah, I think the fruity side of this beer is quite nice too, but if you know these hops, it's kind of what you would expect, in all honesty. So yeah, when you take the beer in, you get a little bit of sharpness out of it, and that's the tangerine and the oranges and stuff from the Sabro and the Mosaic. But then when it mellows out, you start to get more of the tropical side of things. But yeah, at the back of that kind of oily bubble that you have in your tongue, you can feel there's a little touch of peach just on top, but then underneath, yeah, lots of soft passion fruit. As you move further forward, quite a little bit of juicy mango in there, and maybe as you reach the middle of that front third of your palate, it's got like a little bit of soft apricot and stuff in the middle. But then yeah, as you move into the front half of that front third of your tongue, it's all about the Sabro and the Mosaic. You can feel that sort of coconutty thing underneath from the Sabro, and then yeah, lots of tangerine and sort of mandarin-y oranges sitting above that, which are really, really nice. So yeah, I like the way that all pieces together. So yeah, I think the fruity side of this one, it's kind of a usual combination. You get a bit of tropical and a bit of orange. It's quite normal, but it's just a really, really nicely done beer these days. And there's so many producers, and many of those producers have done many IPAs as well. You can't really ask for much more than for them to make a really nice beer. That's what this is. I wouldn't expect anything less of Mountain Culture. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for the flavour section. Let's just round off with a wee look at the mouthfeel then. So yeah, the fruity side of this beer, or the mouthfeel of this beer for me, I would say that it's kind of top end of mid-bodied. The carbonation's quite smooth. It does have a little bit of a prickle to it, right enough. But yeah, this beer for me, it has quite a silky mouthfeel that gives you a bit of dryness into the aftertaste, but the water does feel quite clean in a sense as well. But the IBU of this one, I think this is a fairly standard sort of 30 IBU IPA. You can feel a little bit of the bitterness lingering into the aftertaste with this, but yeah, 30 IBUs I think is about right with this one. The malt base has a little bit of dryness underneath, some smoothness in the middle, and a wee bit of sweetness on top. And then yeah, you have some really nice oily, fruity characters to this one going into the aftertaste as well. But yeah, very, very happy with this particular beer, and I think it goes together really, really nicely. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's very, very good stuff, this one. So I think we can leave it at that for this. This one was the Celestial Body, a 6.7% oat cream IPA from the wonderful Mountain Culture beer in Emu Plains, just to the west of Sydney, down in Australia. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Mountain Culture beer as well, and we will no doubt return to these guys again at some point in the very near future. But until then, slàinte, skål, cheers, check out my social media, check out their social media, and I'll catch you guys in another review very, very soon. Till then, ciao just now. Check out Sam Smalley over at Short and Stout Beer Reviews too, but this was great, lovely.